Welcome, Undertakers. Today's video is a great one. We're going to make some dinner rolls. Oh, look at that. Now this side over here, these are pull-aparts, so they kind of bake together, and then you grab one, you pull it out. I had a few extras, so I did some so you could see what happens if you just want to make individual little rolls that aren't stuck together. But either way, they're really good. They're really easy. I'm betting you have all the ingredients to make these already in the refrigerator. So, if you want to know how to make them, let's get started. Alright, to get started, we're going to put our yeast in our mixing bowl. Now, if you have a stand mixer, this is going to be a lot easier. If you don't, you can still do these, you just have to knead by hand. So there's our yeast in there. Now we're going to give them some nice warm water. Get them brought back to life. Alright, so we want to give our yeast 10 or 15 minutes to sit there and get all happy in there. Meanwhile, I've got a bowl with half a stick of butter in it. I'm going to melt that in the microwave. Now to our melted butter, I'm going to put in some honey. Now mine, you can tell, is kind of crystallized, but that's okay. It'll still work. And this is optional. You don't have to put the honey in there, but I think it adds a nice little flavor. It's pretty good. Then we're going to add some milk to that. Alright, so here a few minutes later, I can tell my yeast is well on its way. It's looking good. So to that, we're going to add about a teaspoon of salt right in there. Now I've got some flour. I've got 3 cups of flour, but we're not going to add it all. I'm going to put most of it in there, but I'm going to reserve a little bit because it's easier to add it than it is to take it out later. So, and don't get too concerned about the measurement. We're going to let the dough tell us when it's had enough flour, not try to force a certain amount in there. Now I've got our butter honey mixture here and our milk. Yeah, give that a little mix there. Now at this point, if you wanted to add some additional flavors in here, you could. You know, you could always throw some sage or some rosemary or thyme in here. Maybe some garlic. My daughter said we should put some pumpkin spice and some cinnamon in here and make pumpkin flavored biscuit or roll. But I'm just going to leave these plain today just for what we're doing here. So once that's in there mixed up, at this point we're going to put on our dough hook and start mixing this up. And we know there's not enough flour in here for this to work, so I don't expect it to come together just yet. It's going to be sort of wet, and then we'll just add flour as we go. Alright, so that's obviously still too wet. So at this point you just want to keep going. You want to add some flour, maybe a couple tablespoons at a time. Let it go a little bit. And I see you can hear we're getting pretty close. I've got just a little sticking on the bottom, so I'm going to put some more flour in here. And this is about the 3rd edition of flour that I've done. Alright, so at this point we know we don't need any more flour. We can see the dough's pulling away from the side. It's not sticking to the bottom. And in just a minute this is going to form one nice little ball. Alright, so we've got one nice little ball here on the hook, and I've got this on low speed. We're just going to let this go for about 6 more minutes and let it knead. Alright, so now we're done. We're left with this great little ball of dough. Pull that off your hook. Alright, now you just want to take that out of there. It's a little sticky, but it's not terrible. Get all of it out of there. And then basically you just want to work this around a little bit. You want to make it into a nice little smooth ball here. Just kind of take the top and pull it around and push it back up into the bottom. Kind of like that. Just work it away, work it around, push it up into the top. You just want to work it till you have a nice little smooth ball. So there's our nice smooth ball. Now I'm going to put some olive oil on the bottom here. And a good amount, about a tablespoon down there. I'm going to pour some on the top of our ball. Make sure it gets nice and coated. Like that. Right, now you just want to cover that, keep it in a nice warm spot for about 1.5 hours, 2 hours, or until it doubles in size, and then we'll go from there. Alright, I'm just under 2 hours at this point, and you can see it's gotten much larger than it was. Just barely poke it, it'll pop down. Like that. Alright, we don't need to worry about letting the air out. That'll happen on its own. Now, I need to take it out of here and spread it out, and we need to turn one big ball into many small balls. So now we'll just pull this out, and we don't have to worry about using any flour. This thing has a ton of olive oil on it, so we're good there. And basically, we just want to make this now, like I said, from one large ball into lots of smaller balls. So I find if I just kind of press this out into a square shape, roughly square, about like that. Perfect. Close enough. So about like that. Now if you know what you're doing, if you've done this a bunch of times, you can just start grabbing pieces of dough and pulling them off. But it's kind of hard to keep them all about the same size that way. I find if I take this and just kind of cut this square into strips like this, then I can go through and cut these, and that way I know that they're all going to be about the same size. And so you just want to take a piece of dough and just kind of fold it up under like this, bring all the corners together under the bottom. And then you just want to, kind of like we did when it was a large ball, just kind of keep moving it like that, stretching that top up underneath and to form a little ball. And that's it, that's all there is to it. And then just keep doing it with all your other dough pieces. And make a whole bunch of small little rolls. Alright, so now I've got all my dough rolled into little individual little buns here. And now we're just going to line them up on a baking sheet. And I've got a silicone liner. You could use parchment, whatever you have that's non-stick. Now, I'm making these with what's called pull-apart buns. So you want to put them next to each other so they're close, but they're not touching. And then what will happen, as these rise again and then we bake them, they'll all kind of fuse together at the sides, but then they'll still look like individual buns. You can pull them apart. If you don't want to do that, then you can set them farther apart and just make individual buns. Either way, whatever you're going for, but I'm going for the pull-aparts today. Alright, so now I've got them all lined up nice and even, and I had a few left, so I'm just going to put these to the side, and just so you can see what they look like, because they'll just bake as on their own. They won't be a pull-apart bun, but they'll come out basically the same. And now I want to hit this. I've got an egg wash, which is just an egg whipped with a little bit of water in it, and we just want to brush the top of all these. Nothing to it here. You can also use milk or cream if you have it. I'm doing the egg today. Now you can stop right there if you want and just leave it with the egg wash, or depending on what kind you made, you know, you can put different things on top. I've got some sea salt here. And my kids like it if I put just a few little sprinkles on each one, just a little bit of salt on each little bun. Like that. Alright, so now we're egg washed. We've got some salt on here, and they're not quite ready to go in the oven. I'm going to preheat my oven to 375 right now, and while that's happening, I'm going to go set these on a warm spot here on the counter, and we're going to let them rise for another half hour, and then they're ready for the oven. So I'll put these away. We'll see you in 30 minutes. Alright, so after 30 minutes, there's our rolls. You can see they've grown, and now they're mostly touching where we had a nice gap in there before. So from there, into the middle of a 375-degree oven for 20 minutes. Oh, and there we go. Fresh out of the oven. Golden brown. Delicious. Oh, look at that. Yes. And there's the singles that I did, so you can see those. Ah, and there they are. And they smell great. So as you can see, you know, these touched, but you just pick one up and they just pull right apart. So there you go. Break them open. If you had a little butter, some jam, or dip them in your gravy or whatever you're eating. Oh yeah. A little bit of salt on there. Oh yeah, just right. Now if you don't want to make them pull apart, just leave some space between them. Not this much, but leave some space there. So they'll just bake up as individual little little buns like that. If you don't like them that little, you can make them a little bit bigger. Whatever you want to do. And like I mentioned earlier, it's real easy to put some stuff in here. Put some sage or rosemary or pumpkin spice, or put some other things in here. Some garlic would be really good on here. So you can customize these to kind of match whatever you're having for your meal that you're going to eat these with. It didn't take much work. All the work's at the beginning. Just putting the ingredients together in the mixer, it does most of the work. There's a lot of waiting time. Wait an hour and a half or 2 hours for the first rising. And then when you make the little ones, wait another 30 minutes for those to rise before you cook them. So give yourself plenty of time if you're going to make these. You can't just put these together 5 minutes before dinner's ready. But give these a try. They're really, really good. And they're really easy to do. There's no flour, there's no rolling pin. So if you're new to baking and you want to give it a try, these are kind of hard to mess up. And they're really good. So give them a try. I know you can do it. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.